Alrighty, good morning, everyone. My name is McCain Vogel. I'm one of the assistant editors at No-Till Farmer. Thanks for joining us today for the live product demonstration webinar titled Get Confident in Carbon, sponsored by Locus AG. This presentation will feature Locus AG's carbon farming experts. So we have Shane Head, Director of Customer Success at CarbonNOW. We have Mark Hill, Director of Sales Central and South Region. And we have Chris Legit, Director of Sales Central and North Region. Before we get started, just have a couple of housekeeping items to go over. So on your screen at the bottom, you'll see a control panel. There should be a Q&A icon down there, and you can use that to submit questions throughout the presentation. And we'll kind of hold till the very end to start going through some of those. So if you have any questions throughout, please use that to submit them, and then I'll read those to our presenters at the end, get through as many as we can. And also, we're recording today's session, so in the event you want to go back and watch it again or share it with anyone else, you should be able to do that within 24 hours after the end of the presentation. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Shane, Mark, and Chris.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? Thanks for joining us. Anna's going to get our presentation put up on the screen here, and we'll get it kicked off with Mark going over some of our product stuff. So thanks everybody for joining us, and bear with us while we get it put up.
There we go. Okay, very good. Good morning, wolves out there. Appreciate your attendance. Like I said, I'm Mark Hill. I'm the sales director for the South Central region of the United States for Locus AG. We're happy to be here. Excited to talk about CarbonNOW, and the products in which we've been able to bring to the table that's gotten us here. So here you're going to see we're going to be talking about our products itself, our biological products, and then we'll be doing a CarbonNOW overview with some data and also some key takeaways as we move forward. The three of us will be all presenting, so you'll get to hear from all of us as we move forward here. So Locus is a very diverse company in the biological world. Locus Fermentation Solutions is our parent company, and we have 6 other entities that circle around that. Us, of course, being in the agriculture side. Us, agriculture and animal nutrition, kind of hover together with the other ones that you see there. We're a true 100% biological company. We have somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,300 patents across all of these geographies within this space of biologicals. So we're here to talk today about our biological products that are specific to crop production, and how that ties into the CarbonNOW program that we've been actively marketing within in the last year and a half or so. But our biological products are obviously, as you see, as superior crop-specific biologicals. We target very specific strains of bacteria to do very specific things within the ag, and not only enhance, obviously, yield is very, very important, but also mineralization of soil-bound nutrients is something that we bring to the table as we move forward. Let's be able to actively mineralize those things and make them plant available as we go forward. And we're in just about any kind of row crop or specialty market that's out there, and wheat, any of the cereals as well. So what drives this, right? The carbon and nutrient cycling here that we're targeting. What we have found through the use of our products, and more so specifically the Rhizolizer product line that we'll be talking about, which is specifically Trichoderma strains of bacteria, we're basically supercharging the photosynthate process that happens in pulling in that CO2 as nature does, converting the sugars and moving that through to the soil, into the rhizosphere, onto the soil, depositing that, feeding the microbe world. In addition to that, converting that those things into acids that the plant can grab and uptake and bring back in, and we start that whole process all over again. So just the nutrient cycling life is vitally important in carbon sequestration as well as nutrient. This is something that just recently has been published here in May, coming from Nature. It's been peer-reviewed, and now a white paper has been issued that shows that basically biologicals or microbial activity in the soil is absolutely key in driving permanence in carbon capture. I think we've been onto something for some time, and we have seen this in our research and understanding how to enhance CO2 draw and carbon sequestration in the soil by using these bacteria. More to follow on that, but I would reach out and see if you could find those papers. So the product that we featured is the Rhizolizer line of products. Is the main line of products as far as the carbon sequestration side. They are trichodermas, very specific strains of trichodermas. You can see Harzanium and Varans. They're all endophytic. In other words, they work inside the plant and run through the life cycle of the plant itself. And you can see that they're releasing organic acids in the plant and promote that plant vigor and health. We also have tons of evidence how we drive roots much deeper, and being able to deposit that carbon deeper as well. We have the addition to that with our Rhizolizer line. We are also in the organic world. We have an OMRI certification on the Rhizolizer, so we can work in that space as well. And within also this product, there's a bacillus strain of bacteria working in the rhizosphere area as well, helping to mineralize those nutrients and work in conjunction with the Rhizolizer of the trichodermas. We're like, as I had said earlier, we're very specific in the strains of bacteria that we produce and distribute. We don't need a host of, as you've probably heard the term, bugs in a jug, if you will. Ours do very specific things, and to enhance these specific things in the crop itself. The Rhizolizer Prime family is is more into the mostly in the soybeans is where this product is. It also has a bradyrhizobium in there for inoculation. We have the same product as well available without the brady. If you've already got your beans already inoculated and don't want to double, we can do that as well. But this product is also obviously CarbonNOW certified. Anytime you see the Rhizolizer line of product, and you'll notice that CarbonNOW emblem in the upper right hand part of your screen, qualifies into this program. Pantego is also one of our proprietary strains, but it is actually a novel yeast product known as Wicker Hemisius anomalus. Pantego, or the wicker, works in the soil, and its number one job is to solubilize phosphorus that's tied. That's a big problem in a lot of the markets throughout where we market, especially here in the high plains where I live and reside. High pH levels, high calcium levels, high magnesium levels, all these things that create phosphorus tie-up. We have tons of anecdotal evidence that shows how the Pantego product of this will solubilize those nutrients and get them plant available. This product you're seeing here is a combination product we're using for wheat, Pantego Duo. It has both strains in here. These are what we refer to as box applied, or they're dry flowables. They have a talc graphite base, and our bugs are basically dormant in there. Once they get into the soil, in this respect, one goes into the plant, the other goes into the soil working, and we can combine those in this aspect of the dry formulation, and they're not antagonistic with each other. They're very aggressive strains of bacteria and would consume each other if given the opportunity. Just a little bit of an overview of a chart here that shows how these products work with their strains of bacteria. where they reside, of course, their key benefits. Not only is it important to me, obviously, to get people enrolled into a carbon program that we have developed with this, but it's also obviously important to you as a grower to see yield enhancements, as well as this mineralization, effect that we get from these organisms as well. Just to know that we're covering the entire role here, and having the distinction of the only product company currently out there to having a product that's registered with the registries as the additionality. No, that's a mouthful. Gives us quite a unique play into the marketplace. And I think from here, Shane will be talking more about the CarbonNOW programs moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Mark. We'll talk a little bit about our program, CarbonNOW. It's our carbon enrollment program. It all starts with biologicals, as Mark alluded to, how much those biologicals are adding to and assisting sequestering carbon. So carbon credits is getting to be a big buzzword in the industry, and our carbon program is actually leading those sequestration and payments back to growers. As we go through this, kind of give you an idea how it works and how you can participate, from the simple part of it to profitability to actually being secure. We just collect the data. We help you collect that, so my team can be face fronting to get on your farm. If you have it manual, if you have just plat books and a piece of paper, we'll be glad to help you work through that. Or if you have it digital, we can help you take most of that strain off of your plate, so you're not spending a lot of time, a lot of your valuable time looking for data or where to look and what we need to get your program or your project moving forward. We do have a lot of partners that we work with, and so we're part of the leg of the stool, if you will, to make things work. We have a exchange for the credits. We also have a registry for the credits. We also use third parties to help us verify things. Also third party to make sure we're getting the soil samples taken and to get the lab analysis ran on what we're looking for the samples. We'll go through that in just a minute. So who is eligible? So most carbon programs, if you've been no-till or regenerative practices for several years, you're not eligible for most carbon programs. By using our product is considered a practice change. So you're able to use the product as a practice change and thus increase your yields. And so we'll go through a little more of the details of how all that works in a minute. Basically 500 acres or more. We do have a high acceptance rate because we are using the biological as a practice change. And so the one other thing is, if you've been conventional tillage, so if you've been deep tillage and don't feel like you've been kicked out of other programs, it could be an opportunity for you if you're willing to change those tillage practices. And it doesn't mean you have to be no-till. We can accept a minimum till as long as you're not over 4 inches when you're doing any type of tillage. Program steps are very simple. You sign up. You can go to locusag.com/CarbonNOW, answer those few questions in there. My team will respond back to you to fill out what we call an FEI. So the FEI is a field enrollment index that labels the field names that you use. We'll use that to identify your maps. We gather that data. We try to go back 3 to 5 years. Most of the time it's 3. Depending on your rotation, it could get up to 4 and 5, but pretty simple. If you have digital mechanical type data, we can access that. So that's a home run if we can get those type of growers that have that in John Deere Alps or FieldView. And then so then we send that, once we get that information, we send that to our exchange, which is ANU, and they look through that, evaluate the maps, put together what the control fields would be, and then a contract would be sent back to you. We then will send out a crew to soil sample those fields. We use third-party soil sampling crews, and those fields are identified by control spots designated by an algorithm to know that that's a spot that will be taken for the next 4 years, the same spot. Payments then after sampling will be made. It's $12 per acre per year. $9 comes after sampling, and $3 comes after harvest data collection. And those are paid on an annual basis. Your performance bonus for your carbon credits would be on top of that if you sequester carbon, and that comes after year one. We're really right now, we're in our third pool of paying growers. So we're getting this figured out and getting growers paid. So third-party soil sampling is really a critical part of this. So we're using scientific method to understand what we're actually sequestered in your fields. So we do year over year in the same location, control areas used, meaning that those areas would not have product put on them. So we're continually checking our product against ourselves to make sure it's working and validating those carbon credits. We check for SOC, which is soil organic content, and bulk density. All this is analyzed through the third-party labs, and then your payment would come after those soil samples. A real exciting portion that we're getting into this year in this new pool that we're going into is a new portal for grower data. It's a way for you to have access to your own portal. In other words, you will have access to your maps, the field boundaries, all the enrollment, where you are in the enrollment, what field you want to select for control, if you want to use that, or if you want to use control areas or insets, all those things we would have access to change or work on while we're working on your project. And that makes everything in one area where you can have access to. Our enrollment is on a yearly cycle, and the next enrollment. So it's open enrollment throughout the year. The cutoff date will be, the next one is February 15th of 2024. Your first payment will come after you get all of your information in, everything mapping, all the data that we need has to be turned in by February 15th. That is a no stop, no frills deadline. And then it goes to our exchange, which is to get evaluated, and then your payment will be, and after sampling, we'll issue the payment. So that'll be sometime in the spring of 24 after your third-party soil sampling. Your carbon performance, so your first sampling is your baseline for the carbon sequestration measurement, and then the next year, 365 days later, we will check it again in those same locations. And then after validation, if you've sequestered carbon, then we pay you a bonus on top of that. So if you have your phones, you can click on this little button here, to this QR code to scan. You can hit your picture and it'll pull it up and click on your phone. And that's easy how you can get to our site to get registered and see if you're eligible. If you feel like you're not, there's some questions on there. Fill those out. It automatically sends it to my team if you're eligible, and we call you within 48 hours to walk through, and make sure this is something you want to process and go through with. I will turn this over to Chris here.
All right. Good morning, everyone. As you've heard, Mark and Shane both say, we take our data and our product performance very serious. All you growers that are watching this has had somebody pull onto their farm and have a seed treat or a microbial, and in a world full of quote unquote fairy dust, we want to make sure ours is the right thing. So our agronomy team and the company, Locus AG here has taken that very serious. So you can see where we've had CRO studies and trials across the country with proven results. They're all third-party trials, so there's no doctor data or anything like that. And our product can provide an immediate impact on your operation. as you can see here on these 5 crops, which are, pretty much the main ones that we're working on and focus on, we can provide statistical difference in these top 5 growing row crops. And what that means is we've been able to repeat this data across many trials, and it provides a 95% confidence level that our trial results can be expected by growers. If you look, 8.1 bushel increase on corn, 3.1 on soybean, 4.6 on wheat, 104 pounds on cotton, and then of course, 309 pounds on non-irrigated canola. So we do have a product that works, and not only will it qualify you for earning money on the carbon side of things, it's also going to add more money to your bottom line of your farm operation. So we'll go over a couple key takeaways here. The product is the practice change, or quote unquote the qualifying additionality in the program. So for many of you guys that have been long-term no-tillers or long-term cover crop users, you kind of get pushed aside in most programs. Where here we have an option for you to take advantage of it and get some carbon sequestration payments as well. We just talked about it. Scientifically proven to boost yields and ROI. You get a guaranteed payment. So you're not worried essentially about what it's going to sequester. Year to year, you do have a promise in there where you are going to get a guaranteed payment. The third party soil sampling to make sure everything's accurate. And that's one of the biggest things with carbon programs in general is being accurate in your reporting and your data. And we want to strive to be at the highest level of that. So we have a program that not only helps, here, right away, it also has staying power in the industry for years to come. And with our newer addition to the data portal and platform, you're going to be able to go in there, see all your fields, all your maps, and what's going on within the program for you at pretty much any time. So it's a very, very simple program for you guys to use in order to kind of see where you're at in the steps of the carbon program. What questions do you have for us? I know Walter had put in there a little bit earlier, are any of our products OMRI certified? Mark did address that. We do have products for organic use. And then Nathan Pfluger, our soil samples taken at the same time every year. What time of year are those soil samples taken? And Shane did reply back to him. Yes, they are taken the same time every year, as close as possible. And that will happen in the spring of every year.
I would probably add, Chris, I think the next slide is actually the QR code that if you'd like to register or look at to enroll, certainly do that. Or if you want to reach out to any of us, contact us by email here. We'd be glad to handle your questions on a one-on-one basis.
Yeah, every operation is a little bit different, and so there might be some nuances within your operation, but we're equipped to handle it, and would love to sit down and talk with you and answer all your questions.
All right, yeah, looks like we got a couple more questions coming in here, so I can kind of feed some of these to you guys. Looks like we had one attendee asking if the service is available in Canada.
Not currently, but I think we're working on that. I believe as a team, we're looking to expand into other markets. So more to come there.
And to expand on that real quick, there's two registry companies for carbon in the U.S. that are the two big ones, I should say. There's Vera, and then there's Climate Action Reserve. The Climate Action Reserve is pretty much U.S. only. The reason we decided to go with Vera is, one, they are a little bit more strict on their certification, and two, they are worldwide. So as this thing evolves, we'll have the ability to expand out into Canada, South America, the UK, kind of wherever.
All right. And then how about another question here says, does the ROI vary from north to south in the U.S. for corn?
Yeah, I can take that. So, we're doing studies across 18 states, as you saw in that depiction. This has been done over a number of years now. I believe 4 to 5 years is where we're at in a lot of our research. And the consistency has just been phenomenal. And obviously, varying from 4 to 8 to 12 bushel, depending on where you're at in your geography. Of course, Mother Nature plays a lot to do with a lot of things in that, but been very, very consistent. And I've been in the biological thing here for about 21 years, and a lot of the talk goes towards soil type in a lot of these aspects. We see our consistent data happening in just about any type of soil type across that geography. So we've kind of eliminated that talk, which is really good. And I see another about how positive were the North Dakota results. I'm assuming maybe you're thinking maybe canola and wheat, but I believe that our studies have been going on for about the same amount of time. So that positive ROI on canola, we do irrigated and non-irrigated, as well as the wheat studies, have been extremely positive every year. So,
and to answer Everett's question specifically, if you want, send one of us an email, either Mark or probably myself, since I'm more, I guess, in your area. Send me an email and we can, get those results out to you, and we can go over them in person, or, outside of the meeting here.
All right. A couple more here. Compatibility with other tank mix partners.
Yeah, we do. We've done compatibility studies throughout all of this. The list is quite lengthy of what we're compatible with, and very, very short on what we're not. So we're an on-seed treatment, obviously, with these products, and you're using them in the same instance that you use a talc or graphite application. It's just on a very low use rate. We're talking in corn, for example, a ½ ounce per seed unit. We have some of the highest CFU, or colony forming unit counts, or biological counts on the market, probably in the neighborhood of 15 billion microbes in an ounce of this product. So coverage is extremely good, but very easy to use if you're familiar with talc or graphite. We also have some assistance in this carbon program that we can help link you up with some very, very good equipment that will be very precise, if you prefer, that can mount on a seed tender. We have a number of programs that we work with to get this applied.
All right, got another one here. Would I need to still inoculate my seed like field peas or lentils if I use your product?
Yeah, unless you're using the Rhizolizer Prime, for example, if we have that labeled in that market. I'm not familiar with those particular crops, but I think we're doing some testing there. But it does have a Brady Rhizobium japonicum in there on the Rhizolizer Prime issue. So there is 3 different strains going on there, or 2 bacteria strains plus the Brady. I have some customers that are double inoculating, so they'll use that product as well as already having some other Brady in place, but that would be up to you.
Also, just a quick note, if you haven't heard your question answered, we do have Shane typing some answers, so be sure to pop back into the Q&A icon there, and you might see your answer responded to. Another one here, could you give an example of cropping system information collect?
There you go, Shane. I'm assuming they're talking about carbon information that we look for. I'm assuming. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either, so I was hoping he would ask that again. So basically, we gather the history of that field We'll use it by a per field. Some of your fields may not qualify depending on your practices or what type of, like if you've had a field that was in pasture 2 years ago and you've turned it into a crop ground now, probably won't qualify for the program. Or if you burn a lot of your fields, those fields will not qualify. If you deep tillage, those fields will not qualify. But it's best for us to just go ahead and enter those, enroll those. We'll put it through the system, through our protocol, and then we'll determine at the end what's eligible, what's enrollable. If you're looking at how we gather the information around the carbon measurement, we do it scientifically in that we take a measurement. We create the algorithm, the computer creates the algorithm to determine where that sampling location is going to be. And we take a 1 foot sample, 7/8 inch in diameter, and that's the same spot that will happen every year over the next 4 years. So year on year, we're measuring how much carbon you are sequestering. And at the end of the year, if you've sequestered carbon, then that's part of your bonus you'll get at the end of the year. So I hope that answers his question.
And I'm seeing that one there here from Doug. Doug is kind of leaning towards, application furrow in corn. Let's see, corn and beans rates, cost breaker. So our product cost varies based on your seeding rates. So depending on what you're dropping, of course, on corn and beans, that's where your cost is going to change up and down. Here in the High Plains, where I reside and do the majority of my work in this carbon program, I can say without a doubt that I have yet to exceed the amount of money that you're getting from the carbon payment versus what this product cost is initially. I can't promise that everywhere we go. The higher the seeding rates, obviously, the higher the cost raises. But for the most part, there's always been a positive return on the dollars that's being paid out on carbon versus the initial cost of the product. I want to be very clear about something here too, that we're not here to promote the fact that your carbon payment will take care of paying for your product. That's not where we go with this. It's an enhancement to that. Obviously, the timing will depend on other factors of soil sampling and all those kind of things, and when that payment comes to you. But the offset so far has been very positive. Here in the High Plains, I've got a distributor that has done his own corn studies and have been very solid at 6.5 bushel increases on corn, as well as 2 points higher on test weight and 3 points higher moisture, which goes all to plant health, obviously. So the ROI, just based on yield increases, has a number of my customers excited. Besides just being a carbon play.
All right, looks like we got a couple more here. Do you collect timing and sequence of field operations per crop grown?
Yeah, that'd be in the data collection that you're doing. Shane's teams does, wouldn't you say, Shane?
Yes. So again, I'm not able to see the question. Can you read it back again?
Yep. Let me find it. Yeah. So he says, this is from Justin. He says, do you collect timing and sequence of field operations per crop grown?
Yes. So the data collection process is by field. And then if they have multiple crops per that field, that's actually another data entry. So we have to know timing. We have to know a lot of data points. And that's why our program's a little unique in that we have a customer success team that is there to help them with those questions. So a lot of those questions, we can help them work through how to answer those questions. Like, when was it planted? When was the harvest? What was the yield? When did they yield it? Is it irrigated? When did the irrigator go on? When did it go off? Did it have manure applied? There's a lot of those type of questions, and we help them walk through those. So unless he's got a specific questions, that's kind of overall how we differentiate our carbon program than others. in people that are on this call may know that if you've been on other carbon programs and you look at the questions you have to answer, it's a very daunting task. So not like this is going to be real easy, but we try to take that off of their plate to help ease that pain of all those questions to help them get through the process.
Like there's one too.
So the one, I can see the one, please explain the payment a bit more in detail, $12 an acre versus $48 guarantee. So it's $12 a year per acre, $9 comes after soil sampling, and $3 comes after harvest data is entered. And that's for 4 years. So the $48 is $12 a year for 4 years. So the one, do you separate 1991 designated national wetlands? As long as it's that far back, usually we're 10 years on some of that program. If it's been pulled out prior to the 10 years, we can just run it through our program and just see if it's accepted. We have a different platform we're working with, and so it'd be one of those things. If they're cropping it, then we need to. We just have to tackle. That's one of those one-on-one questions that we can handle, depending on what type of practices he did, what type of changes he did, and what he's planning to do going forward.
And Doug, yes, anhydrous ammonia is allowed acceptance. That's another beauty part about what we do. We don't dictate to you on how to farm. There was a compatibility question back there. We do not interact well with straight 28 or 32%. Not that you'd be putting that in furrow anyway, most likely, but no, anhydrous is fine. And yeah, that's a great question by Stephen. Well, I guess we didn't cover the actual contract terms.
Yeah, so that is a really good question. So the minimum, it's a 4-year program. And so it's a commitment to use the product for 4 years, but it's also a commitment that you'll get the payment for 4 years. And then it's going to be year on year after that. So depending on, how your success is, we're seeing some phenomenal preliminary results of our product and as a sequestration and the results that we're seeing from that. So we're going to have some exciting stuff to come moving forward. So that's part of that. That's part of that program and looking forward. So I got in furrow application in corn and beans rates, cost per acre. It's actually a seed applied. I think Mark may have covered that a little bit. Seed applied rates it varies a little bit, but it's a real low inclusion in cost per acres depending on your population that you put.
All right, well, so last call here. I don't know if anyone has any remaining questions, but it looks like we've answered everything that's come through thus far. If you do have any other questions that you think of, you've got the emails up here. Feel free to reach out to any of our presenters. They mentioned that before. They'd be happy to answer any of your remaining questions. But other than that, just want to thank everyone for those great questions, and thanks for the good answers as well, you guys. A reminder, today's presentation and the audio will be made available on the No-Till Farmer website, and that should be there within 24 hours. You should get an email when that's ready for you. And on behalf of Locus AG and No-Till Farmer Magazine, thanks for joining us today. Feel free to reach out. Let us know if there's other topics you want to see us cover in future webinars and presentations. And that's it for us. So thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.